This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, I'm going to discuss the 15 foods that dogs and cats should never eat. There are a number of common human foods that your dogs and cats should never eat. Some of the common ones include chocolate, coffee, alcohol, ones I think we're mostly aware of. Some of the lesser common ones include grapes, onion, nutmeg, and even the sweetener in artificial gum called xylitol. In this video, you're going to learn about these toxins, some of the common clinical signs if your pets ingest these toxins, and then most importantly, I'm going to conclude with showing you what you can do at home if your dog or cat ingests any of these. Alcoholic beverages. They are often sweet, attracting dogs and cats, but they can cause serious and fatal intoxication. Some of the clinical signs include incoordination, ataxia, excitement, depression as it progresses, slow breathing rate, and they can lead to cardiac arrest and death. Avocados. Avocado leaves, fruit, seeds, and bark contain a toxic principle known as persin. The Guatemalan variety is the most toxic, but they all have toxic potential. They cause primarily serious vomiting and diarrhea. Chocolate in all forms. Chocolate contains theobromine, a compound that is a cardiac stimulant and diuretic. The most toxic form is the dark chocolate, or the baker's chocolate. Some of the clinical signs include initial excitation, increased drinking, increased urination, vomiting and diarrhea, increased heart rate, heart arrhythmias, seizures can be seen, and in serious cases, death is possible. Coffee in all forms. Coffee contains dangerous components called xanthines, which can cause nervous system or urinary system damage and heart muscle stimulation. Fatty foods. The primary concern here is severe stomach upset and in some cases pancreatitis. This can be fatal in some pets and is almost always triggered by a high-fat meal, such as graven or as pictured here, bacon. Macadamia nuts. They contain an unknown toxin which can affect the digestive and nervous systems and muscles of dogs, and this can lead to paralysis. A small number of nuts and even the macadamia nut butter can cause this. Moldy or spoiled foods. Many molds contain a type of toxin called aflatoxin. This is thought to be a common cause of compost toxicity. Some of the clinical signs include vomiting and diarrhea, muscle tremors, incoordination, elevated temperature, excessive salivation, and liver damage. Onions and even onion powder. Onions contain a toxic ingredient called thiosulfate. Pets affected by onion toxicity can develop anemia, and even as small as one onion can cause this. Fortunately, all dogs recover once they are stopped from ingesting the onions. Raisins and grapes. As few as 6 grapes and raisins have caused acute kidney failure in some dogs. The toxic ingredient is yet known, and there's no known treatment. The big point here is avoid feeding any grapes or raisins to your dogs. Yeast dough. The yeast dough or uncooked bread dough will rise in your pet's stomach, causing severe gastrointestinal distress, showing up as vomiting and diarrhea, bloating, and signs of alcohol toxicity. Xylitol. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener found in sugar-free products such as gum, candy, etc. Some of the clinical signs relate to a sudden drop in glucose or blood sugar, showing up as incoordination, collapse, and even seizures. Apples, apricots, cherries, peaches, and plums. The stems, seeds, and leaves can be toxic. They contain a cyanide-type compound, and signs of toxicity include apprehension, dilated pupils, difficulty breathing, hyperventilation, and shock. And I just want to highlight that it's the seeds and stems that contain the toxin component, not the fruit itself. Potato peelings and green potatoes. These plants contain solanine and other toxic alkaloids, which, if eaten in large amounts, can produce drooling, severe gastrointestinal upset, including vomiting and diarrhea, loss of appetite, drowsiness, central nervous system depression, confusion, behavioral changes, weakness, dilated pupils, and slowed heart rate. Nutmeg. High levels can be toxic, even fatal. The toxic component is unknown. Signs of toxicity include tremors, seizures, nervous system abnormalities, and even death. Tomato leaves and stems, the green parts. The green parts of the tomato plant are considered toxic because they contain solanine, which has the potential to produce significant gastrointestinal and central nervous system effects. So if your dog or cat is showing some serious clinical signs of ingesting a toxin, the first thing you want to do is be going to a veterinarian. In most cases of poisoning, the most important thing you can do is getting your pet to vomit. Getting them to throw up whatever they've consumed. If they've consumed something caustic, such as bleach or drain cleaner, then you don't want to induce vomiting. So for instance, if your dog has consumed too much chocolate, and we're concerned about that causing a toxicity, then we want to induce vomiting. The safest thing to use to do that is hydrogen peroxide, which I have here. So here's the 3% peroxide, and the dose is 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds. So here's a teaspoon. I'm just going to put it into a cup here so you can see. 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight, and I'll dilute that 50-50 with water. So Jesse being 40 pounds, his dose would be 4 teaspoons, there it is, of peroxide. I then just do equivalent water. There we got 4 teaspoons of water. Sorry about that, Jesse. There's the 4 teaspoons of water. And then that would just be drawn up to something like a syringe, which I've gone up here. So that draws up to about 25 mils, well, almost 30 mils of fluid, as you can see here in a syringe. But I'm not going to give it to him because I don't want him to vomit today, good boy. Then I would wait, and if he didn't vomit, I would repeat that in 10 minutes. I wouldn't repeat it more than twice. Then after that, then I would be transporting him to the veterinarian. Delay absorption. The next ingredient you should have on hand is activated charcoal. It's available from most pharmacies. Here it is here in a liquid form. It also comes in a capsule form. And what it does, it will bind to the toxin in your dog or your cat's stomach and intestinal tract and prevent some of that from being absorbed. Just a great thing to have on hand. The dose of activated charcoal here in the liquid form is 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds. I just want to show you here what it looks like. I'm just going to put it into this cup here. So right here, it's this black liquid, as you can see here. So there it is here. You can see it in this black liquid. And if I was going to dose it and give to Jesse, I would have a syringe on hand. So there you have here. And you can see that really black looking dark liquid, and that's the activated charcoal. And I would just put it into the side of his mouth like this, as I would be giving the peroxide. Opening his mouth, putting it into the side, putting the syringe right to the back of his throat, and then squishing it down so I know it would get down his mouth. Thank you for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets. What I want you to do right now is click that link in the box below, and I'll send you my free book and videos on how to heal your pets at home with my top natural remedies.